Hi everyone. In this video I wanted to go over the files that you will be sending in for grading for projects 1A and 1B. So I am in our Blackboard course website and I have clicked on the Chapter 1 assignment link to come to this page. So you're going along, you've done some of the other things, you've worked on, let's say you've worked on project 1A and 1B, and now you come down to where you're going to be turning the assignment in. So every time you're ready to turn an assignment in, I will have listed the files that I am expecting for this assignment. They will be Excel files unless I specify something else. So this should be the 1A quarterly sales, your Excel file. Okay, so each one of these is an Excel file. So I'm looking here and it says 1A quarterly sales and then 1A quarterly sales formulas and then 1B plyo products. Now you might be thinking, well, where the heck did we come up with the 1A quarterly sales formulas? So that's what I'm going to show you in this video. I'm going back over to Excel. At the very end of Project 1A in Activity 1.17, yours might just say 17, Activity 17, either way. It says changing page orientation and displaying, printing, and hiding formulas. This is where you're going to be saving your file in a different way. So basically what they're telling you here is in this file you created some formulas, and like if I click on, let's say, cell B8, I can look in the formula bar and see that there's a formula that actually resides in this cell. The 238,000 is the result, but the formula is what's really residing in that cell. If I changed any of these numbers, this result would change because of the underlying formula. There might be times when you're working on a spreadsheet, or maybe someone in your office might give you a spreadsheet and you're tasked with making some changes to it. But anyway, you may need to see what exactly are the formulas in this particular spreadsheet. So that's what you're looking at the very end of Project 1A. So what you want to do is make sure, and mine says solution because that's what I'm working on, but yours would have your last name, first name, and then quarterly sales up here. Before making these changes, I would just go ahead and save your file real quick. If you use the little quick save button up here, you can do that, or you can also do file and save. Then let's see, on to step number 1, it does say to go ahead and save your file. Then step number 2, it says on the formulas tab in the formula auditing group, here's the formulas tab, we'll click on that. In the formula auditing group, click show formulas. So here's the formula auditing group. And then we see up here is the button for show formulas. So when we click that, you can see that in any cell that contained a formula, I can see what that is. These cells just contain actual numbers. That's why they didn't change. But if I had a formula in a cell, that's what's showing here. Now, in the following steps, I think is steps 3 through about 7, you're going to change the size of the columns so that all of this will fit, because a lot of times when you show the formulas, there's more information than can fit in the column. So you will have to resize the formulas. You can use the auto fit. Remember, you can just put your mouse pointer up here and double click to resize that formula, or just follow the instructions like I said in the book, for the column size. The other thing that you will do in step 5, you're going to the page layout area, and you want to make sure that this is set up in orientation, a landscape orientation setup, so that if you are going to print this, it would make more sense to print it that way. So again, just make sure that you're following all the instructions. You're going to use the scale to fit option in here. Let's see, in the scale to fit group, I'll just go ahead and do that. We're going to click the width arrow, which is right here, and we're going to say fit on one page. Okay, and now we would be able to fit that all on one page, and then you're going to customize the margins. over here. And then on the margins tab, we want to make sure that the horizontally center on page is chosen. If it's not selected, you would just go ahead and click that. And then we're going to click on OK. So now we have everything set up and we're ready to do our print preview so we can look and see what this is going to look like if we were going to print it. Now in this class you do not need to print any materials. I'm never going to ask you for an actual piece of paper. It's up to you if you want to print it just to see how it turns out or looks. That's perfectly fine, but just make sure that you understand that concept of how to print it, but you're never going to actually print it. So in the in our worksheet here, we want to click just anywhere but inside the chart. We want to make sure that the chart itself is not selected. So just make sure you have an active cell anywhere outside of the chart selected. And then in the book, they tell you to go ahead and press Control and then F2 to open up print preview. It's just a quick way to do that. You can also just use the little print preview button up at the top, or you can do file and print, whatever you would like. And then so here we can see that this is going to print all on one page. It says if necessary, switch back to the option to print active sheets, which I have. That option is already selected. Now, so in step 8, this is where you're going to be saving the file with a different name. So we're going to choose, we're already on in our print area. Let's choose Save As. So when we choose Save As, we can either give it a different location or a different name. So I'm going to go ahead and browse to find the location where I'm saving everything. I'm just going to go ahead and save it in my Solutions Files area, but you can, browse to find the folder that you are saving all of your work in. If you need help with that, just let me know. So I'm going to change the file name. So instead of it saying 1A quarterly sales, I'm going to change it to 1A quarterly sales, and then I'm including the word formulas in here. I'll go ahead and keep the word solution. You won't have that in there, just ignore that. You would also have your last name and first name in here as well. So when we're making a change to the name, it will actually save this as a totally different file than the file that you had been working on, which is the 1A quarterly sales. So when I go ahead and click on that, notice at the top my file name has changed, and so now I have two files. I have the 1A quarterly sales file that I had been working on and the 1A quarterly sales formulas file that I just saved. So if I close, I'll just go ahead and close this real quick and then I'll reopen it. So what this does is it keeps those formulas showing. So I just opened this file again and I can see all of the formulas in the spreadsheet. So that's a way to display all the formulas, and then also when you're using Save As and you're again either changing the location of where you're saving it or you're changing the file name, it will save it as a completely separate file. So you're making, in essence, you're saving it as a second file. Okay, so I hope that this has been helpful. If you have any questions, please email me through the course website. So now you have this 1A quarterly sales formula and you're ready to go back here. Click on your submit assignment link and you'll be ready to upload all three of those files. Okay, so I think that's it for now. Take care.